Naka-live na po kayo?
Yes, sir. It's already live.
Loving can hurt.
Hi po, shout out muna po kay Ma'am Rosemary Assis. Good morning. So, I hope you will learn something today from Ma'am Rosemary Assis from Daet Camarines Norte. Hello po. Sir Donna Mar Cameron. Hello, sir. We will start in 1 minute. Okay. Also from Angel Fonchor. Hello po, ma'am. Good morning. Magandang araw po. I hope safe po tayo lahat. At kay Ma'am Crisanta Liu. Thank you po. Good morning po sa lahat. So we will start in 1 minute po, 9:18. By the way, teachers, disclaimer po dun sa first poster po, ang nakalagay po ay 9 o'clock to 11:30. But for now, we have here the corrected one. As you can see on the presented screen, it's 9:30 to 11 a.m. So starting tomorrow po, we will start at 9:30 a.m. Alright po. Thank you. Alright, so start na po tayo lahat. So ready na po ba? So salamat po sa mga viewers natin. I hope that you will learn something about what is an online distance learning. But for now, let's have a short prayer. Let's pray for everyone's safety. Let's pray. Let's pray for and for the education right now because I know bago po ito lahat para sa atin at sana po ay marami po tayong matutunan ngayong araw na ito. Let us all remember that we are in the most holy presence of God. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Lord, I am feeling uncertain about what I'm facing. Please guide me and help me to cope with what is unfolding. Please also grant me the peace that only you can give. Amid my worries, please come alongside me and sustain me. I know that I can put my trust in you. Please grant me reminders along the way so I do not become overtaken with the unknown. So thank you po, teachers. All right. So in the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Amen. All right. So teachers, hello po ulit. Magandang umaga sa inyo. So before we start this session today, so let me introduce myself with you. Let me introduce. Good day, everyone, again. Welcome to another episode of our online series about online distance learning. What sets it apart from the rest? So, it's a series of talk from today, starting today until Friday. I am Jolan Torres. You can call me Jolan. You can type Sir Jolan in the chat box. And I'm currently enrolled at the University of the Philippines taking up Master of Distance Learning. So I am currently an institutional computer coordinator at De La Salle Santiago Isabel School. And I consider myself as a facilitator of learning who inspires students' learning and creativity by combining innovative strategies and various technology tools to create a student's understanding. So again, welcome to this episode series of online distance learning. What sets it apart from the rest? Okay, so we are going to talk about what sets online distance learning apart and the different tips on how to design an online learning distance module or lessons. Okay, so but before that, let's have a short activity. So for now, I want you to go to kahoot.it. Then the game code is 0864627. Okay po. So kindly get your phone po. Then go to kahoot.it. The game code is 0864627. Okay po. Go. So I'll give you like 2 minutes to answer the quiz for the Kahoot. The game code is 0864627. It's on the screen. The game code is 0864627. So you have 2 minutes or 3 minutes to finish it. So I'll set the timer to 3 minutes. And then we will announce who is the winner, who is the fastest in answering those questions. Actually, in Kahoot, we only have 5 questions. Well, again, for those who wants to join, the game code is 0864627 po. Ayan. Sana po marami pong sumali. So, I'll check Kahoot. 0864627. Okay, we still have 2 minutes. We still have 2 minutes. Okay, so sa Kahoot po, as you can see, kapag nag-online distance learning po tayo at meron po tayong synchronous learning with our students, we can also use Kahoot, and this is self-paced learning also. So this is one way strategy na pwede rin nating gamitin sa ating synchronous learning for online distance learning. So para to encourage our students. So aside from concepts, we also have games. Parehas po ng sa classroom natin. So we have games, make it creative in a form of games on how will our students learn our topic, our discussion. So it's the same thing with Kahoot, with online distance learning. Okay, as of now, we have 20 players. So 20 players po tayo. Ayan. Meron, we still have 30 seconds left before I end the game. This is self-paced Kahoot. So anytime pwede po siyang gawin as long as you're within the time range na sinet po ni teacher. Ayan. So ito po yung mga sumagot ngayon. Si Ma'am Jo, si Ma'am Pawi, Miranda, um, Joel, Zol, Marzan. Okay. Okay, merong hindi pa po tapos. 36 pa po yung hindi tapos sumagot. I'll stop it in 1 minute. Okay, may mga naglalaro. Okay, may mga done na po. Done na, sir. Kim Chu pala. Meron po palang Kim Chu. Naloka po ba kayo sa law of classroom? Nakakaloka ang law of classroom, sabi ni Ma'am Denise May Alba. Okay, teachers, I'll end now the game. So, I'll end now. Okay. So, see the podium. Let's see who is the first placer. Okay, sasabihin ko po yung first placer ha. Ang first placer po natin ay si... I'll share my screen. Ayan. Ang first placer po natin ay si Ma'am Jules. Okay, si Ma'am Jules po. Kaway-kaway naman po dyan kay Ma'am Jules. Then the second placer po natin si Ma'am Pawi Miranda. Then we have our third placer si Ma'am LG. So hindi ko pala na-share yung screen ko. Wait, tignan natin, teachers. Ayan. So ayun po, ganun lang po mag self-paced learning ng Kahoot. Actually, I can also share my screen pero medyo may technical problem lang. So, I can also share the screen kung sino yung mga first placer, yung second placer, and yung third placer, at saka yung mga hindi po nakakompleto nung online distance learning. Okay? So, this is also an example of how will you encourage your student to join you in an online distance learning. So masaya din po ang online distance learning. Medyo matrabaho lang po talaga para sa teachers. And of course, this is a challenge for everyone because this is new. This is purely online distance learning. Okay? So going back for online distance learning today, so of course for this session, for this week, we have the introduction to online distance learning, what Learn sets it apart from the rest. So start for today, we will discuss what sets online distance learning ODL apart. And for tomorrow's discussion, we're going to tackle about creating instructional video as response to the needs of the online distance learning. For the third day, on a Wednesday, maximizing G Suites for education. So what are the Google applications that we can use to integrate inside the classroom or to use inside the classroom? All right. Then number 4, amplifying online distance learning through Google Meet and Google Slides. I know some of you knows how to use Google Meet and Google Slides, but we have some additional applications wherein it will lead you to be Google Certified Educator Level 1. Again, this is only Level 1, but you can be Google Certified Educator Level 1. Okay? That is for day 5. But also for day 4, we will also insert some competencies and skills that you need for Google Certified Educator Level 1. All right? So once again, good morning. I'm Jolan Torres, and I'll be your sharer for today. So without further ado, let's start with this new challenge because we are the frontliners of education and we need to take this challenge, right? Tama po, di ba? Okay. So thank you. I'll check muna. 30-second placer po pala si Ma'am Emerald Matira. 36 placer si Ma'am Emerald Matira. Okay. So type in the comment box kung anong place po kayo. So ayun, meron pong 30-second placer. Yan, 'di ba? Maganda po kasi nakikita rin po ng mga estudyante yung mga place nila. So with that, magiging competitive sila. So next time gagalingan nila. Okay? So as you can see, bakit tayo nag-online distance learning ngayon? Sinong may kagagawan? Of course, maybe we can do this in the next 2 years pa ang online distance, but biglaan tayong nag-online distance. So it because of this pandemic problem. Kilala naman po natin si coronavirus, the COVID-19 has resulted in shut all schools across the world, not only in the Philippines, but it is across the world. Actually, globally, over 1.2 billion children are out of the classroom. And some of them might not enroll in a formal school or in an online distance school because of course in an online distance learning they need to have gadgets, they need to have internet connection, and we will talk about that later. So as a result, education has changed dramatically with the distinctive rise of course, this one is what we call e-learning, whereby teaching is undertaken remotely on digital platform. Okay, wherein research suggests that online distance learning has been shown to increase retention of information and take less time, meaning the changes coronavirus have caused might be here to stay. So ibig sabihin hindi na po mawawala ang mga nabago. Ito sa education, kung nag-online distance learning na tayo, siguro ipagpapatuloy na po natin to. At ito po ay kagagawa ni coronavirus. Right? So, for this morning, it is very important for us to know the difference between online learning and distance learning. Both online and distance learning require similar online learning tools, but they are similarly ends. So, okay. So, ang iba pong alam natin ang karamihan po sa atin ang sinasabi na online learning and distance learning are the same. But of course, it is not the same. As you can see in question number 5, doon po sa Kahoot, marami pong nagkamali. Marami pong nagkamali doon sa online distance learning doon po sa Kahoot. Okay, teachers, wait. I need to settle my, okay, this one. All right. So, what the difference between online learning and distance learning? So, kailangan po nating malaman talaga kung ano ang pinagkaibahan ng online learning and distance learning. Kasi ang pagkakaalam po natin, they are the same. Both online learning and distance learning require similar online learning tools. Yes, that is correct. But there are they have similarly ends. Online learning is a term on different geographical presence of the students from school in learning process. Actually, this is the question in Kahoot, number 5 question. True or false po, kung natatandaan niyo po. Okay. Karamihan po ng sagot sa online learning is a term on the different geographical presence of the students from the school in a learning process. Karamihan po ng sagot ay true. Kaya po mali tayo. Dahil ang tamang sagot po doon ay distance learning. So what is the difference between online learning and distance learning? So ito po, distance learning and online learning, magkaiba po silang dalawa. Online learning is a term on the different, okay, the term stresses on the different geographical presence of the student from educational institution in a learning process. Okay, as you can see, nakikita po natin si geographical presence of the students. Ibig sabihin po, malayo po. So we categorize this one as distance learning if um, you have different geographical presence. Medyo magkalayo or magkaiba yung time. So, ayun po si distance learning. While online learning highlights the method of learning that is based on internet. Okay. So, overall, there are three major difference. Hello? Hello? Okay. So overall, there are three major difference between online and distance learning. So ano po ba yung three major difference ni online learning and distance learning? First, we have the location, we have the interaction, and we have the intention. Okay? Of course, sa location po, for online learning, with the online learning, sometimes we call it e-learning, students can be together in the classroom with an instructor or teacher while working through their digital lesson and assessment. So nangyayari po pala si online learning sa physical classroom. Kapag sa face-to-face classroom, nangyayari po si online learning. For example po, um, ako po, si teacher, nagtuturo ako sa classroom and I ask my students to watch YouTube or I send the link to my students to watch this particular topic in YouTube. Is that online learning? Yes, that is online learning. And it happened inside the classroom also. Okay po? So that's online learning. Nangyayari po siya sa loob ng classroom. And it can be part of your teaching strategy. For example, you will ask your students to answer or you will do Kahoot inside the classroom. That's online learning. Okay po? That is online learning. Okay? So nakikita niyo po yung difference. While distance learning, when using distance learning, students work online at home. So at home, while the teacher assign works and checks their works digitally. So ibig sabihin po, Okay, teacher, hold on. I'm having a problem lang po. Wait lang. I'm sharing my screen but I think it's not working. Medyo technical. Ayan, okay, okay, okay. Alright. So, going back here, so ito po yung location. Medyo late lang po yung screen. So, again, sa online learning, with online learning, students can be together inside a classroom with an instructor while working through digital lessons and assessments. So ayun po yun. Then sa distance learning po, when using distance learning, students work online at home while the teachers assign work and checks digitally. So the location, okay, nakikita nyo po, si online pwede kay classroom, but si distance learning, sa bahay lang po siya or kailangan malayo siya. Again, si online po ay nangyayari sa kay physical classroom din po. Alright? Then the next one is what we call interaction. Okay? First, kanina meron po tayong location. Then the next major difference is what we call interaction. Okay? So, si interaction po, okay, si interaction, because of the difference in location, see the connection, interaction, because the difference in location, the first major difference, the interaction between you and your students are differs as well. So they're also different. So again, in an online learning, it will involve in-person interaction between you and your students on regular basis. This is because online learning is issued as blended learning techniques along with other teaching strategies. Okay? So, so since this is a blended learning techniques, okay? And it will involve in-person interaction between you and your students on a regular basis inside the classroom. Okay po? Inside the classroom. So kung nakikita nyo po, si online learning ay nangyayari po sa classroom. Sa normal setup po ng classroom natin. However, on the other side, distance learning includes no in-person interaction between teachers and students. Okay? Between teachers and students. However, you're likely on digital platforms of communication such as messaging application, video calls, discussion boards, and your school learning management system or LMS. Okay po? Alright. So, I'll go back to dun sa live kasi merong hindi po nakikita ang screen. Okay na po ba yung screen? Nakikita nyo na po yung screen? So, for now, we're discussing about interaction. Okay po? Alright. So, again, balik po tayo. Alright, thank you. So, the difference, balikan po natin, the difference between online learning and distance learning, they have three major difference. First is the location and second is the interaction. Ito po, si interaction. Okay, then let's move on to the next difference of online learning and distance learning. Okay, so for difference in online learning and distance learning, the third one is the intention. Okay, so ano nga bang nangyayari sa online learning for this one? Online learning for your intention is designed to be used in combination with a variety of other in-person teaching methods. Okay? So sa classroom po, ano po bang intention natin? Ano po bang intention? because it is a supplementary way of mixing things up in your classroom to provide a variety of learning for your students. For example, in physical classroom, in a normal setup or normal setting classroom, ang gagawin po ni teacher, meron pong manonood muna siya sa YouTube. After manood sa YouTube, magkakaroon sila ng online games or Kahoot or quizzes, and that is online learning. So what is your intention? Okay? Because you combine a variety of other in-person teaching methods. Then after watching YouTube, magsusulat si bata, manonood si bata, right? Manonood si estudyante. So, so your intention for online learning is to combine all variety of other in-person teaching method inside the classroom. And that is online learning. And that is the intention of online learning. Okay po? While the intention of distance learning is a method for delivering instruction solely online. And that is only purely online, not as variation in your teaching style. Because this is purely online. Online lang ito. So nandun lang siya nakalagay, but there's no real interaction between their classmates and their teachers physically. So there. So balikan lang po natin siya ha. Okay. So balikan lang po natin siya. Um, the three major difference of online learning and distance learning are location, right? Location, interaction, and intention. Okay po? So ayun po ang major difference ni online learning and distance learning. Ibig sabihin po, hindi po sila parehas. Hindi po parehas si online learning at si distance learning. Lagi po nating tatandaan na hindi po parehas si online learning and distance learning. So, now let's proceed with the advantages of online learning and distance learning. Of course, they have advantages. They have disadvantages, of course. But let us discuss first the advantages of online learning and distance learning. So for online learning and distance learning are both viable and effective teaching strategies, of course. However, they have their own distinct advantages for both teachers and students. So they have both distinct advantages for students and teachers. All right. So first, for advantages of online learning. So ano-ano nga ba yung mga advantages of online learning? At sino po ba mga nakagamit na ng online learning sa atin? So, there you go. So advantages of online learning and distance learning. Okay. Ayan po. Ay, okay. To start with, okay, advantages of online learning and advantages of distance learning. So ano-ano nga ba ang mga advantages nila? So first, let's start with the advantages of distance learning. Okay, wait lang po, teachers. I'm going to fix my presentation. There we go. Hello po.
Yes, hello, sir.
Yes po. Nawala po tayo.
Wala.
Opo, pa-check po. Sorry.
Sa akin po, okay pa. Pa-wait lang po ng 30 seconds. Ayan po, nag-show naman po, sir, yung screen nyo.
Okay po. Pero wala po akong video, no?
Yung sa inyo po, wala.
Yung sa live po, wala.
Wala. Yung ano nyo lang po, yung screen nyo lang
Screen?
po.
Opo.
Wait. Ito-start ko po yung video nyo, ha?
Okay
Ako
po.
po yung
Thank you.
mag-on.
Alright. Okay, there you go. Sorry, teachers, for some technical problems. So let's go back for the advantages of online learning and distance learning. Of course, so we have this online learning and distance learning, and both are viable and effective teaching strategies. Okay, but let us know first the different advantages of online learning. Okay, online learning first. For the online learning, okay, to start with the online learning, of course, it is an excellent way to increase student engagement. Okay, increase student engagement when used as a part of a blended learning technique. Okay, so second, the advantages of online of distance learning is using learning tools make it easier for you to differentiate instruction. And lastly, when you use online learning, you'll find that it saves your time with planning and grading your students. That's because many digital curriculum tools do the heavy lifting for you by providing ready-to-use lesson plans or instructional materials and assessments. So meron na pong marami talagang mga searchable na digital materials, the YouTube, the worksheets, marami na po online. So these are the advantages of online learning. While the advantages of having distance learning can continue without disruption. Since this is distance learning, we can do it without disruption. Even in events like um, gabi na pwede pa rin i-continue yung learning. Or the COVID pandemic itself. Now, distance learning, it will not stop the learning. It will continue the learning. Because you were already teaching remotely. These types of interruptions don't affect your classes in the same way as traditional or in-person classes. Kasi it's distance learning. Okay? So kahit um, bumagyo man, magkaroon ng pandemic, they can continue learning. Pwede patuloy po yung pag-aaral ng mga estudyante. In addition, distance learning provides greater flexibility for students to work at their own pace and review work as needed. It's self-paced learning. This also ties with the fact that the students can access your course material at the time that works for them. Kahit madaling araw, kahit sobrang gabi, pwede silang mag-aral, which is important for students who may have irregular work schedule. Okay, di ba nga po yung mga artista natin, distance learning sila or yung iba, um, kasi they have their own schedule. Kailangan flexible ang schedule. So in distance learning, they have self-paced learning, flexible ang schedule po. Okay? So what are the drawbacks of online learning and distance learning? So meaning, now that you know the benefits of online and distance learning, it is time to dive into the drawbacks. So what are the problems in using online learning and distance learning? As with any educational strategy, online and distance learning each have, of course, they have their own faults. They have their own problems. In fact, many of the drawbacks for the item are similar due to the fact that online and distance learning both rely on digital resources. Okay? So for online learning, so ano nga bang problema kay online learning? Ito lang po, tatlo siya. Access to technology, screen time, of course, cheating. To start online learning strategies relies on your students having access, of course, to technology in school on a regular basis. If your students don't have regular access to computers or other devices during school, it will be tough. It will be tough to truly implement online learning. Yes. So ito po ang problema natin ngayon. Teknolohiya. Hindi po lahat ng mga mag-aaral at hindi po lahat, not all our students have their own internet, have their own gadget. Okay po? Pangalawa, online learning brings up many concerns about screen time inside the classroom or in classroom for online learning. Then, if you try to use online learning, start to finish in your daily classes, it will definitely cause problem with increased screen time. Problema po talaga yan. Aminin nyo yan, screen time. At kahit nga po sa bahay, ang mga bata ay laging nakahawak sa kanilang mga cellphone. However, if you find the right balance, you can find the ways to reduce screen time. Even when using online learning on a regular basis, you need to have your structure on how will they use it because the problem is the screen time, right? The final problem that occur with online learning is that students may cheat when using digital tool. Cheating is a major problem, of course, in school. The students often take advantage of using the technology to make cheating easier. Though you won't necessarily find a way to fully stop students from cheating with digital curriculum resources. Okay. So we need to know, or we need to find ways to reduce cheating inside the classroom. Okay. So these are the problem in an online learning. We need to have access technology, screen time, and of course the cheating. But how about the problem we will encounter for the distance learning? When implementing distance learning, of course, there are four. I categorize it in four main problems to be aware of. First, it is not feasible to use distance learning if your students don't have access to devices or the internet at home. Sobrang hirap po yan. Because distance learning fully relies on students learning remotely from computers or tablets. So if your students that cannot connect in that way, distance learning will be off the table. Hindi po talaga kaya. Second, distance learning makes it difficult to keep tabs on whether your students are actually working. Hindi na nga po natin nakikita yung mga estudyante. At ang daming tabs po na naka-open sa kanilang mga computer. So it's difficult for us to keep tabs on whether your students are actually working. Kasi hindi po natin nakikita ang screen ng ating mga estudyante. So for example, nagle-lesson kayo pero siya nanonood siya or may binabasa siya. Nakikita mo yung screen niya, nakikita mo siya, cam to cam kayong dalawa ng estudyante. Pero the students have different screen. Okay? Third, just like online learning, distance learning can make cheating even easier than online learning. Bakit po? Bakit po mas mahirap, mas madaling mag-cheat kapag distance learning? Wala si teacher. Wala namang nag-a-assist sa kanya and she or the students can answer it anytime, anyway. Kasi wala pong nag-a-assist sa estudyante. Right? Number 4, and last, finally, like online learning, distance learning can result in even more screen time for your student. Kung problema na si screen time can online learning, problema rin siya kay distance learning. Why is it a big deal? Health. Siyempre, yung mata natin, yung mata ng mga estudyante natin. So, these are the drawbacks or the problems for online learning and distance learning. So, meron na po tayong 3 parts of the discussion today. So first, what are the difference between online learning and distance learning? So ano nga po yung mga difference ng online learning and distance learning natin? We have the location, the interaction, and of course, the intention of online learning and distance learning. And we also discussed the advantages of online learning and disadvantages of this. Advantages of online learning and advantages of distance learning. And of course, the problems or the drawbacks of online learning and distance learning. So ngayon po, tatanungin ko po kayo, which is better, to have online learning or to have distance learning? That's why our session, we call it online distance learning. Inom lang po ako kasi nasasamid po ako with that. So ayan po. Sige, take time to realize online learning versus distance learning. Ano nga po talaga mas okay na gamitin parang sa ating mga estudyante? Are they ready to have online learning? Are they ready for the distance learning? Kayo po bang mga kaguruan, mga teachers, ready na po ba kayo sa online learning and distance learning? Depende. Yes, tama po, Sir Dante. It really depends kung ano po talaga ang kailangan natin. Kung online learning. But for now, wala po talaga tayong magagawa kundi gamitin ang distance learning. Tama po? I think both. Yes, Ma'am Mary Jane S. Abarca. For now, we have our session entitled Online Distance Learning because we marry these two. But I hope you really understand the difference between online learning and distance learning. Okay po? Combi of Sir Raymark. I'm looking at the screen because I have another screen looking at the YouTube live so I can see the comments. Um, Sir Raymark Marzan, yes, combination of online and distance learning. Yes, tama po. So, nakukuha po talaga natin ang topic natin ngayon because we talks about online distance learning. We marry the online learning and distance learning. Mas maganda sana online learning but because of pandemic, distance learning ang kailangan. Tama po Sir Edmond. That's why sasamahan po natin siya ng online. So, because of the pandemic, we call it online distance learning. Okay po? Salamat po, Ma'am Mary Jane, Sir Edmond. So, since we decided for online learning versus distance learning, ano po ba mga kailangan dito? Of course, sino bang hindi familiar sa paggawa ng online module? Okay? So, of course, we need to plan it. We need to plan our online module. Paano po ba natin gagawin ito? We need structure. Again, this is only just a disclaimer. There's no specific or the best way of designing an online modules. The design of your online modules basically follow. For me, this is my personal take on this. This follow how the school or institution in terms of delivering instructions. So for example, you have your own core values in your school. Of course, you need to integrate it in your module. You have your own vision and mission. Of course, you need to integrate it and put it in your module. And everything in your school as follow. I think it is also very important that we align everything to it. Even the way we deliver instruction in the classroom, or for now, what we call online world. So in creating online module, make sure that you align everything in your school. Your core values for the Christian schools, for the Catholic school, of course, they need to integrate the core values that they have in their school, um, the structure according to their system. So they need to follow it. They need to integrate it. Okay? So when we need to make sure that the way we design online learning following our school vision and mission, um, core values. So for me, I think that is one of the most important considerations that we need to do. Because I firmly believe in what we call understanding by design or the backward design by Grant Wiggins and J. McTighe. Di ba po, alam po natin to lahat, UBD. Familiar po tayo lahat sa UBD. Okay? So, I've been using this one, the UBD, in designing my online learning modules, which for me to think, of course, the learning outcomes that I want my students to be able to achieve at the end of the learning modules. And from their design assessment, of course, that would enable my students to demonstrate the achievement of the learning outcomes. Always begin with the end in mind. Okay? we need to begin with the end in mind. Ano po ba ang mga kailangan nilang gawin sa performance task nila? And what are the competencies na kailangan to do for them to be able to do the performance task? Alam na alam po natin yan, mga kaguruan. Alam na alam po natin yan, mga teachers. We need to plan ahead. We need to plan or we need to begin with our end in mind. What is the output? Kung natatandaan niyo po, di ba, tinrim down po si competencies ni DepEd for the online learning. Si MELC. So familiar naman po tayo kay MELC. Because it aligns with the performance task, with the performance standard. Begin with the end in mind. Okay? So, but we need to consider three things in designing an online module. From there, you can focus on designing the online learning experience. You need to consider three things: interaction, structure, and ability for the teachers to give feedback. Again, you need to have three things to consider: interaction, structure, and for the teacher to give feedback. Again, the main point of designing online module is to reduce transactional distance. So what do you mean by transactional distance? The feeling of loneliness. You need to reduce the feeling of loneliness of the students or the gap between the teacher and the student. Kasi wala siya mapagtatanungan habang nag-aaral si estudyante. Okay? We need to reduce the transactional distance. But how will you reduce the transactional distance between you and the student? Okay po? Again, the main point of designing an online module is to reduce the transactional distance. So it's very important that we look at the structure. Literature studies have shown that if the structure of the online learning module is very, very strict or very, very rigid, students are not given the opportunity to base their own path of learning. Sobrang daming nakasulat, sobrang daming nakalagay sa online module, sa instructions, didiskarte si estudyante kung paano niya sasagutan yung pinapagawa ni teacher. Because not all are readers, right? That's why we need to differentiate instruction. So, ayan po. These are the three things that we need to consider in doing your online learning module: interaction, structure, and of course, giving feedback. First is the interaction. Interaction. When everything is so prescriptive, students will not be able to navigate with much choice and option the whole learning module. So if that's the case, then we lower down interaction. We lessen interaction with less the learner independence. Learner independence, okay? It is very, very important in terms of online distance learning because in that way, we're telling the students that the teacher will not be physically present and that they have to develop learner independence to be able to navigate the online learning module. Okay? So we need to develop learner independence to our students. Now, that's the kind of development of students of learner independence varies also. Let's put into the mixed idea of developmental appropriateness. Developmental appropriateness. So we believe that the older students, it's easier for them to develop learner independence because of their maturity level, right? So, well, we hope so. they develop it. So, um, mas develop kasi yung learning independence niya kasi mas matanda na sila. Of course, right? But when you look at into the context, for the young learner, that kind of learner independence may not be as high as older students. So how will you bridge the gap for this? I think even the exposure for online learning modules for students should also be not as long as older students. So papasok po talaga si structure. Ilang oras si estudyante na high school, ilang oras si grade school, at mga preschool students. So we need to look at the structure. And we need to know the if that student is independently know how to navigate. Okay, you see the relationship of the structure. So we need to know the structure based on their difference. I mean, based on their ages and their maturity. So we know that because we know that the structure or we know that the attention of span of students of younger students are also lesser. So we take this into consideration that the structure must not be too rigid, but not too strict. And at the other hand of the spectrum, the structure should not be too loose, not be too loose. Because if the structure is too loose, we are giving the students the opportunity to wander around in terms of the online learning module. Sometimes they might find them with too general structure. They don't have or they don't know what to do with that if your instruction is too general. So ganun po ang mangyayari sa ating mga estudyante. Okay? So that's if that is too general. So make sure if you will design a structure, ibabase po natin sa edad ng ating mga estudyante. So sa mga schools po, hindi po pwedeng pare-parehas tayo from high school to grade school na tagi-isang oras po or preschool tagi-isang oras sila online. I'm telling you, it will not be effective because of the learner independency of the students, and the appropriateness of your module. Okay? So for that, I think we need to look at the structure in relation to interaction. The interaction in online distance learning to the endpoints are, we have the teacher, the students, and the content. Okay? And then they have interaction among each other, of course. But it's also important that within the interaction, we could get also look at the teacher interacting with the student, then student and the content interacting with itself. I mean, in a way that there are a lot of interaction that should happening during online distance learning. But we look at the biggest interaction that should have been during the ODL. I think the biggest interaction that should happen is between student to teacher and student to the content, right? At the same time, of course, student to student. So they should we make that this interaction at the optimum level, or or should we make sure that this interaction at the optimum level? Ideally, yes. But the thing but that's the ground ourselves into reality that it's very hard to develop online learning module. So make sure that you design an effective module or online learning module. Okay, so lastly, we have here this one, feedback. So we can do that. We can do everything, but it will take much time in designing online module. what we can do is to augment this interaction. So for now, let's focus first on teacher and student interaction, which brings me to the idea of feedbacking, of giving feedback. So one of the most important components of online distance learning is feedback. Feedback would be very immediate in online distance learning because it's very easy using different application or you just using different messaging app. When we're doing synchronous interaction or feedback, could weigh to the form of asynchronous instruction. What do I mean by that? Feedback could be, um, for example, you have your online module, you have your you have learning management system. The students will comment and for ask a question. You cannot feedback right away, right? That's asynchronous. You can feedback like after a day or after na mabasa mo siya. So that's asynchronous interaction. But if you have like video conferences with your students and your student asks you a question and you answer it right away, that's synchronous feedbacking. So it's very important also that we design how will you interact with your student. How will you give feedback to your students to validate their learning? So make sure that you will design a synchronous interaction with your student and asynchronous interaction with them. For example, in your learning management system, you're using Google Classroom, you're using Edmodo, you're using Canva, um, Queeper. So there is a comment section, right? There is a comment section there. You can also ask your students to leave their questions and collate it. As a teacher, you collate it. And the during the synchronous meeting, during the synchronous or live session, you will answer those questions to validate learning or to to fix the misconception, okay, in your discussion. Again, for the synchronous learning or for the live session video conference, I suggest that you're not going to discuss any lesson. There's no discussion happening. I mean, lesson discussion during the synchronous learning or the live session. Because ideally, the synchronous interaction or the synchronous feedbacking or the live video conference is to address the student's misconception. Remember, there's asynchronous interaction. They posted questions. And those questions, that's the time for you to answer it during the live session or during the video conference to address the misconception. Again, we will go back again to the structure. So in doing your module, make sure that you have asynchronous interaction with them and kailan po tayo magkakaroon ng synchronous interaction. So it's very important that you schedule it so they have the structure, so they have the system. So ayun po. So kapag gagawa po tayo ng schedule sa ating mga estudyante, it will not be effective if it's pure online. For the students, especially for the lower grades, they want to see you. They want to look at your face. They want to see their teacher for personal attachment. Kasi, kasi ako ayokong, kasi tayo, mga teachers, we will look at the picture, we will look at the LMS, but we don't know who is our teacher. So it's very important for us to meet them, even if it's online. Okay? So that is feedbacking. Yan, personal feedback from the teachers. Now that the feedback could be personal, it can be personal feedback from you. But feedback could also from other learners themselves. Pwede po ba nagaling siya sa ibang estudyante? Yes. For example, you will post public forum in your learning management system wherein the students can also answer students' question. Okay? So, there is also interaction between the student in online distance learning. May groupings din po. Pwede tayo mag-groupings, right? Pwede tayo mag-groupings online. So there's also feedbacking. The feedback not only coming from you, it can be coming from the teacher or it can be coming from their classmates. Kaya po, there is a structure of interaction. So ayan po yung sinasabi ko sa inyo. Therefore, it's very important that we design learning experiences that are collaborative in nature. Make sure that that is collaborative. And not all students be collaborative. Remember, you need to design collaborative activity or collaborative work. But remember, not all should be collaborative. Alam po natin yan. Kasi hindi naman lahat gagawa eh. At hindi lahat tutulong. Iyaasa lang yan sa ibang estudyante. That's why it's very important for us to know which one or which activity should be collaborative or yung groupings na tinatawag natin. There should be individual experiences in online distance learning, of course. So that, bakit kailangan ng mas madaming individual learning experiences? So that they will be able to master individual knowledge or the skills that we want them to learn. But it's important to distribute methods of feedback. Again, it can be coming from the teacher, coming from the learner itself, and coming from their classmates. Kaya kailangan din po natin ng self-check. So it's a feedback from themselves. Okay? You see the triangulation? Coming from you, feedback coming from you, teacher, coming from their classmates, and coming from themselves. Okay? Coming from themselves. It's a self-check. But another thing, there is also feedback coming from the content. Okay? So what do I mean by that? It is it could be even be from the content, the feedback, or the instruction materials that delivers content. For example, um, feedback in the form of formative assessment. Um, you have formative assessment using Google Forms or quizzes or Kahoot kanina. There is also a feedback because it will tell you if it's right or wrong, right? And that is a feedback coming from not from the teacher, not from the student, not from the classmate, but coming from the content. Okay? So you can already, because the teacher can already input immediate feedback. Okay? If the answer is right or wrong, or if the answer is correct. So there are a lot of what you call this application that you can use for feedbacking. So one great example is the one we did a while ago using Kahoot, right? Because there is also a feedback right away if it's right or wrong. They can also check their scores right away. So that is a feedback coming from the content. Okay? So yun nga po yung sinasabi ko, teachers, para hindi po tayo mahirapan. So we can also check it. We can also check that idea that we can use different materials online for feedbacking. Kasi mahirap po pag lahat tayo yung sasagot sa mga estudyante. In Google Forms, we can also use that. I mean, we will discuss Google Form in some other time of this series, of this session. uh, you can also feedback using Google Forms. For example, if their answer is correct, you will write their correct, yung sagot nila. Then if it's wrong, there should be an explanation coming from you. And that's automatic feedback. Okay? So, pwede pong ganun yung gawin natin. So, we will learn that one in some other time for our session. Okay. So, another things that need to be considered, we mentioned about the backward design, right? So, this one is a UBD. That's very, very important. But first, we need to know the context of our students. We need to know of our students, of course. It's very important to know the context of our students. How can we do that? You need to plan ahead. Okay, think ahead when you're designing the learning experiences. Think about the context. First, prior knowledge. Of course, you need to know the prior knowledge of your students when they have been living in the experiences that they have. Kasi mamaya turuan natin yung estudyante pero there are prerequisite lessons that they need to know para mas madali nilang maintindihan yung mga lessons, the lessons that you'll be discussed, right? So, make sure that you have this prior knowledge and diagnostic assessment. So, paano natin malalaman yung mga prior knowledge or diagnostic assessment? It can be used, you can use different applications like Padlet app or Flipgrid application. So, there. But it's also important to know the context of our students through introducing some way of diagnostic assessment. So, if you have noticed now, I'm now integrating assessment into the learning design. A while ago, the structure, we have the structure, the interaction. Now it's feedbacking. Okay? So it's feedback. It's the evaluation. I'm now integrating assessment into the learning design. So they can share the context and prior knowledge. It could be through a diagnostic assessment. It could be through a freedom wall like the one I showed you, that's Padlet app, wherein the students can put their ideas about the context. So the context is very, very important so that we were able to ideally consider the different learning preferences of the students or be able to deliver learning in such a way that would accommodate difference among our students. Okay? So not when designing learning when designing online learning modules, you don't design for one topic because you're going to be giving a lot of effort and time in designing. I suggest that we design maybe based on our units and based on the module, which means that there will be several topics under your module. So it's very important, the teachers, that we break down into chunks because we know chunking, as we know, allows the students to learn ideas, to learn skills in more manageable way. Chunking, hati-hatiin po natin ang ating mga lessons. Don't give it in one lesson or one module para mas madali po nilang maintindihan and they will see the connection. Kasi ikaw kung bibigyan ka, okay, gawin mo to lahat. May hirapan ka na. So make sure that you chunk all the lessons. Unti-untiin po natin. Dumping everything at the same time would be very, very challenging for students. They wouldn't know what to prioritize kapag binigay po natin lahat in one dump. They wouldn't know what to prioritize. They will feel overwhelmed by the numbers of concepts, the ideas or skills that we want them to learn. We also have learned that chunking, it's a term in online distance learning, chunking actually helps the students to organize what they have learned or have to learn. We also have, um, it's important that we chunk our lessons according to the topics or skills. So make sure that we know how to chunk the ideas, the lessons, and give it to your students. Okay. Now, since there is chunking and there will be a lot of different learning experiences, it is also recommended that we do some sorts of formative assessments to make sure that we test if they understood the different topics. Okay? So formative assessment could be in the form of quizzes, practice quizzes. It could be a form of worksheets, online worksheets. It could be in the form of discussion forum where they can post something that they have learned. So because it's very important for us to know if they learned, if it's effective, if they learned something from it. It's very, very important that the students are given the kind of opportunity to test their knowledge to see if they understood the formative assessment. Also, it also informed that the teacher at the end of the online distance learning module be able to adjust the lesson and be able to see which of who among the students should be able to or need assistance in terms of understanding the topic. So they could be different ways, of course. It could be through recorded lectures or usually taking head that we are talking head that we have. You can have pre-recorded videos of your lesson. So every time they want to look at your lesson, they need to scroll down. I mean, they need to scrub it back. We call it scrub, the adjustment. Okay, they can scrub it back so they can also replay it, then they can watch it. So that's why it's very important to create also an instructional materials, um, pre-recorded instructional materials. It could be um, in the form of, for example, you will look for YouTube YouTube videos and post it so they can also rewind it and they can rewatch it again. Um, Another tool that we have is this one. We have this Ed Puzzle. For the Ed Puzzle, wherein you can edit the videos, and then you can put some questions in between the video before they proceed uh, before they will proceed in watching the videos. That is what we call Ed Puzzle. If you have time, you can also try that one. But we will be having a discussion or demo discussion on how will we use Ed Puzzle for asynchronous learning. Okay. So another formative test could be doing Kahoot, Quizlet, the one we did a while ago, and that's a form of formative assessment. Wherein kanina, during Kahoot, I checked question number 5. Most of you got it wrong. So, meaning, when I assess question number 5, there is a misconception between online learning and distance learning. Okay? Because most of you answered it true. Wherein, I mean false. Dapat ang sagot po ay true, di ba yung kanina po sa question number 5. So, so yun po. So we have learned that students or learners are able to learn deeper, of course, if we assess them formatively. Okay? So it is very important that we also take note of assessment. Okay. So ngayon po, assessment naman na po tayo. The final assessment or formative assessment, we could always trust, of course, we could always trust the honesty of our students. But when we give formative assessment, type of assessment for our students, medyo mahirap po yung formative assessment. I mean, okay lang sa formative assessment that we can give an objective type of assessment, right? Multiple choice, enumeration. We can also use that for formative assessment. But the question is that applicable for online distance learning? The multiple choice, pwede po kaya siya multiple choice for online distance learning? I know, like, we could always trust our students when we give them type of formative assessment. But in the end, for online distance learning, that cannot be the ideal way of assessing. That cannot be an ideal way of assessing. Let me reiterate this. That is not um, an ideal way of assessing our students, giving them an objective type assessment. That cannot. Why? Alam niyo na po ang sagot dyan, right? Because we think of what if they just ask another person to answer them because we lack the advance of technology of recording them while they're answering on assessment. Mm, mm, mm. Okay? So make sure that you are not answering it. Make sure that you're not giving a formative type of assessment. I mean, objective type of assessment for a final exam, for a final assessment or summative assessment. Make sure that that is not objective type. Okay po? All right. Okay. So let's proceed here. But what does recommended for formative assessment? Is that summative assessment for online learning um, performance based? Yes. It should be performance based. Based performance based. So ano po ba mga performance based na pwede nilang gawin? Like they can record themselves while doing it or while answering it. So that can be performance based, which means that students should be able to show or demonstrate achievement of important skills and knowledge for our students. So what are the ways of performance-based assessment, teachers? It could be delivering a learned knowledge applied in a wider audience context through a video, through a slideshow presentation. It could be through portfolios or web pages. You can ask your students to create a website for higher grades or higher levels. Um, it could also be in a form of, preparing a portfolio at the beginning to show that there is a progress of learning. Okay. So in the end, what I'm saying about the final assessment, summative assessment, is that it should be basically be appropriate with the learning objectives. Okay. So make sure that there is appropriate with the learning objectives and in the end of students. And also should be able to demonstrate learning without the help of other people, without the help of their parents. Because if you're doing online learning for younger people, you might need to consider, of course, that they will still need some adult supervision. But in the end, what I'm saying is that it is hard to make use of very objective type of assessment to measure and learning through online distance learning. To measure the learning through online distance learning. Okay? So, ayun po. So, lagi po nating isipin na it's very hard to measure knowledge and skills sa online distance learning. Lalo na po kung objective type of assessment po ang gagawin natin, especially for final assessment. My question is, we have periodical test, right? We have periodical test, we have term exam. Are we going to give the same items or to give the same type of questions for our students? So, sa tingin niyo po, tama po ba na ayun po yung ibibigay natin sa ating mga estudyante? Okay, so let me see. Okay. Sa tingin niyo po, alright. So pag-isipan po natin kung paano tayo magbibigay ng assessment sa ating mga estudyante. So for now, let me show you this one. This is a tech-dependent distance learning lesson design. But this is only a guide. I mean, this is not really the perfect one, but you can use this in designing online distance learning lesson. Make it simpler. Make it simple. Okay? So design a personalized experience, self-paced with open-ended prompts. So first, we always start with set the stage. Of course, you need to know you need to welcome your students to class. You need to provide them the overview or protocols for the upcoming learning experiences. Okay? So, ayan. You need to set the stage. So, paano po ba ang format natin sa set the stage? Virtual meeting space or previously recorded video. So, you can also use that one. This is vital. Students benefit from seeing you even if it's by virtual means connection. You always set the stage. For example, hi class. For example, I have my class in grade 1, for example. Hi grade 1 students, I will be your teacher for today and for now, we will be discussing, but make sure that you have the following. Okay? So, you need to set the stage for the students. They need to know the materials that they be needing in doing the lesson. Okay? So, how can you do that? Virtual meeting or record yourself. Kasi para hindi po tayo paulit-ulit. So, ngayon po ang video editing skills po natin ay talagang ma-enhance. So, yun. So, ito po yung kaninang ina-explain ko sa inyo, the synchronous learning and asynchronous learning. So, synchronous learning, you can use Zoom, or kapag wala po talaga, Facebook Messenger, kung gusto nyong i-meet yung mga estudyante nyo. Then asynchronous learning like yung mga discussion, recorded videos. Anyway, we will discuss synchronous learning and asynchronous learning differences by tomorrow. By tomorrow. Okay? Or you can also infuse synchronous and asynchronous learning. Okay, for example, this one. Set the stage. You need to share a video of yourself. You need to greet your students, provide them overview of learning experiences, provide direction or instruction if so desired. You need to publish like videos, unlisted videos. Pwede kasi mag-post ka sa YouTube ng mga videos mo. Introduce mo yung sarili mo, ano yung mga gagawin nila for you for that lesson. What are the objectives? What are the learning targets? And what will be the output? So it's very important for you for you to set the stage. Okay? Kasi ito talaga ang pinaka-instruction ng estudyante. Of course, we have here the content wherein you direct the students to explore resources, to access and explore academic content. So ano ba to pwede? Pwedeng yung video, recorded video mo na nagtuturo ka, pwedeng may websites, pwedeng may worksheet silang sasagutan. So it can be, of course, it's very important to upload multiple methods of representation of content because it will increase access for all learners. It can be helpful for students to document their thinking via varied note-taking methods. Okay? So, para mas maganda, mas maraming methods of learning or representation of content. There, wherein you guide your students towards educational resources you have curated ahead of time to meet their needs. Okay, you can also upload multi hyperlink document or kapag wala, kung medyo nahihirapan po tayo sa PowerPoint, gawa tayo ng PowerPoint. Sa PowerPoint, andun si set the stage, yung first, then andun yung video mo, then the next slide, andun si content, andun yung mga link or yung mga links na kailangan nilang puntahan for the content and then also for the videos for them to learn something. So pwede na yon PowerPoint. Okay, by slides, pwede na po siya. So pwede na siyang gawin sa then i-upload nyo si PowerPoint doon sa learning management nyo. So pwede na siya. So you can always start with that. Hindi naman kailangang laging high-tech. You can also use that. And if you want, you can follow this design like ano lang, set the stage, the content, the collaboration, and synthesize learning. Okay. Next, of course, we have collaboration. For the collaboration, of course, you provide your students opportunities to engage with content in a collaborative environment. Sabi ko nga sa inyo kanina, it can be collaborative documents. You can group your students and interact with a document. In Google Docs, you can share it to your students, then they will edit at the same time. Pwede po yun. So there is now a collaboration between student and their classmates. And of course, the content. All right. Remote learning that connects rather than isolates, builds community, and strengthens the learning. So pwede po siya like sa Google Slides, wherein the students will collaborate to create a presentation, collaboratively working together through a presentation. So pwede po siya. So we will also learn that one this coming week. I mean this for this entire session for this week. So yun po, using Google applications. And I think for public schools, these applications are free. So you can also use that one, also Google Classroom. Collaboration. Students build knowledge using Flipgrid and Google Classroom, this one. That is a platform. If you don't have LMS in your school or the learning management system, you can also use this one and explore it. We will be having a session on how we really use Google Classroom also. A basic session on how will you use Google Classroom for your LMS. For those teachers who doesn't have learning management system in their school. And lastly, of course, we need to synthesize learning. The students needs to demonstrate their learning using a method of their choice. Yung sabi ko nga kanina, paano ba nila ma-demonstrate ang natutunan nila? It can be a visual presentation or a video or a slide presentation, them discussing it or giving examples. Make sure that you have like guide questions on how will they use it and instructions on how will they synthesize learning or just a simple instruction, essential questions that your students need to answer. Okay, so or for example, answer this question in a form of creating a collage, so like that, or creating a video presentation. So that's synthesized learning already. And that is authentic. Remember, that is authentic because that is not simply answering a question. That is, they are creating and they are demonstrating their knowledge, right? So, yan. Show me what you know. So these are an example. Allow for voice and choice boards or learning menus for the students. So let me show you an example of this one. This one. Mm, Set the stage. So ito lang, medyo simple lang talaga siya kasi kailangan sa online distance learning, you need to plan it simple. 'Di ba nga yung milk pinakonti nila? Kasi it's very impossible for them to teach all the competencies, to teach all the skills needed by the students in an online distance learning. Sobrang dami, mahirap siyang ituro lalo na sa mga lalo nang gumawa ng mga resources. Kaya medyo kinontian nila. So ilan lang siya sa per term or per grading period, per quarter. Set the stage. Again, you need to set the stage, the content, where the collaboration, and how the students will synthesize learning. That's it. So, ganun, kailangan ganun lang yung process natin. So, wala na tayong mga um, kung ano-ano pang ginagawa natin sa classroom. And it can be, you can start using presentation, Microsoft PowerPoint, then record yourself. Meron doon. If you can if you can't make your explainer video na nagtuturo ka, okay lang. You can download video or you can download content from YouTube to explain it. But make sure you give credit to the owner, and then of course the collaboration and synthesized learning. So basically that's the example of it. Okay, I'll show you an example. So this is an example lang. This is an example. So actually this is an example for grade 1 reading comprehension. The topic is reading comprehension, stating opinion. So for example, greet students, then provide guidance. Hi everyone. Okay, for example, I'm the teacher. I'm going to record myself and this is my line. Hi everyone, I'm glad you are here today. We'll be working on reading and opinions. You'll be able to read or listen to some stories. Then you will choose your favorite and give a reason why is it the best. Okay, so that is the setting up the stage, right? You're setting up the stage. Next, read or listen to at least 3 stories of your choice and choose your favorite. Okay, then this is already a content. Okay, you see, this is the setting the stage, this is the content. And this content, meron na siyang mga link. For example, once you click Epic, there's a link and it will go to gatepick.com and also this one, storyonline.net. Students can watch videos of children books being read to them. And Epic Books in an ebook platform that is free for teachers. So ayun siya. 'Di ba meron na tayong set the stage, then we have now the content. Then this one is collaborative. Collaborative. Okay, for the collaborative, talk to family member about your favorite book and give a reason why is it your favorite. Make a video to tell your classmates your favorite book and a reason why is it your favorite. Then they will follow this completing the sentence. My favorite story's title is, I think the story is best because, and what will be the platform? It's Flipgrid. They will use a Flipgrid app. And you can also put here the link for them to go to Flipgrid app. Okay. If you want to know Flipgrid app, let me know. We will discuss it and I will include it in our series, in our discussion. Okay, I have here a question. Why is that in my recommend? What? Lee Dane, is setting up the stage similar to providing objectives and instructions before the task? Yes, Ma'am Lee Dane. Setting the stage, you can greet your students and give instructions and objectives and learning targets for your lesson. Yes, setting up the stage. Yes po. All right. Then lastly, we have this synthesized learning wherein the students will demonstrate knowledge, right? Draw and or write about your favorite book and why you like it. Take a picture of your work and upload it in Google Classroom. So the guide questions will be my favorite story's title is blank. I think the story is best because yan. Then they will upload it in Google Classroom. If you can also suggest some drawing applications, meron kasi sa Android, sa Apple, pwedeng doon na lang din sila mag-drawing kaysa sa paper. Pero it's best that they will use paper and pen. Why? It's blended learning. It's not you're reducing the screen time. Remember kanina we discussed the problem of online learning and distance learning is the screen time. So, if you ask your students to use paper and pen to draw, you're reducing screen time, right? So, so yun. Let's go back dito sa example. So we set the stage, the objectives, you mentioned the objectives, you mentioned the instructions. Then here for the content, um, there's a link. You can put some link for the content, um, different contents. Pwede siya, different mode of content for different learners. Then the collaborative collaboration, the collaboration of students and their family members, and of course the synthesized learning. So basically this one, if you want to use it, it's fine. But if you have your own in your school, you can also use that one. But this is the simpler version wherein it's very effective, understandable in doing the lesson or in doing the online learning. 'Di ba? So yung setting up the stage, ayun po yung kailangan nila. Oh, there. Okay. So ayun po. So it's already 11:07. Okay, teacher, so basically that's it for today. So let me synthesize what we have learned today. So ito po yung an outline. So kanina we discussed the online learning versus distance learning. So what are the advantages of online learning and distance learning? So ito, the online distance and distance learning. So ano ba yung difference nilang dalawa? Again, actually ano lang naman siya, yung term niya, when you say distance learning, stresses on the different geographical presence of the students. Basta distance. From the word distance, makalayo kayong nag-aaral. While online learning, it is a method of learning that is based on the internet. But remember, it can be inside a classroom, yung online learning. Mm-mm. Okay. Then, what are the three major difference? We have the location, we have the interaction, and we have the intention. For the location, students can be together in the classroom for online learning. But for the distance learning, of course, the students needs to work online at home, purely online at home, so distance learning. For the interaction, for the online learning, it involved in interaction between you and your student for the interaction because it's online learning and it happened inside the classroom. Then for the distance learning, no in-person interaction between teachers and student. In person, but remember there is an interaction between student and teacher sa online, sa distance learning through virtually. Okay? Of course, the intention. Ano bang intention ni online learning and the distance learning? And what are the advantages of using online learning and distance learning? Advantages of online learning, of course, oh sorry, online learning, it increases student engagement, differentiated instruction, and of course it saves time with planning and grading in online learning. For the distance learning, sorry, for the distance learning, of course, it's a continuous learning in it. It is a self-paced learning, especially pwede siya dun sa mga sa mga may mga busy schedule. Okay, but what are the drawbacks or the challenges of this online learning and distance learning access? Of course, access to technology, the screen time, and cheating for students. Then for distance learning, it's very hard for students to check if they're really working. Mm-mm. They're really working on time. And then of course, the screen time. Okay, then for online module, let me go here. We need to consider three things. Interaction, structure, and giving feedback to your students. Okay. Then, of course, the assessment. Then, this is an example of distance learning lesson design. Okay po. So, yun lang siya. So, yun po yung mga, I hope you will learn something today. Medyo masakit lang din yung ulo ko. Pero okay lang po. Because I know I can share something to everyone. And let's start this. Let's do this. Because we are the frontliners of education. Hindi po tayo mahihinto ni COVID sa pag-aaral. Tuloy lang po ang mga estudyante. At hindi po ako naniniwalang we need to wait for the vaccine for the students to continue learning. Sana kayo din po, teachers. And we need to start learning. And we need to plan. Mahirap po talaga. Mahirap magplano. Mahirap lahat. Kasi it's new to everyone, especially in basic education. Not all are using technology, but I know we can do this. We can do this. We can learn to adapt this new normal because teachers need teachers. 'Di ba? Yung mga hashtag teachers need teachers po. Ayan. Tama po. Ayun. Teachers, if you have questions, I will entertain some questions. You can put it in the comment box, comment section, so we can also discuss it pa din. So, yun. You're welcome po, teachers. Sir Ray Mark Marzan, salamat din po. Ayan. I hope you will learn something. Pero nung umpisa, medyo nagkakaroon tayo ng ng technical problem. So, yun po. Ayan. So again, I'm Sir Jolan Torres. I have here my email address and my my Instagram account at Sir Jojo. You can also search my name in Facebook at Jolan Torres. Um, I want also to promote my page. You call it EduTrends PH, EduTrends PH, wherein you can also learn something about technology or integrate technology in education po. And you're welcome po, Ma'am Tet Pascual, Ma'am Daisy Masongsong. Sir, pwede din po ba itong template sa college teaching po? Actually, you can have the simplified version. Yes, for college. Pwede naman po siya. Basta andun po si skills na ayan, maraming salamat sa binahagi mo na kaalaman. See you tomorrow po. God bless you even more, Sir John. Thank you, Ma'am Mars Besas. I hope you will learn something today kasi ayan. If you have questions, teachers, let me know doon po sa comment box para po ma-discuss natin or masagot ko. Yan. Ma'am Glenda, you're welcome po. Sana po may natutunan po tayo. Salamat po. Again, I'm not an expert to this, but I'm sharing what I know and what I experience. So, para po makatulong po sa lahat. So, yun po. If you have question po, teachers, please let me know. Thank you. Sana po informative din, informative tong topic natin ngayon. Nako, salamat din po, Ma'am Yan Kanke. Again, hindi po humihinto dito sa webinar ang gawain natin, mga teachers. From this webinar, we can start working, we can start realizing kung ano po dapat ang dapat natin gawin para sa ating mga estudyante, para sa ating mga estudyante. Again, our mission kasi it's not for us it's for our students, for them to learn, for them to learn more and to be successful. So yun. Okay, there's a question here from Mercy Grace Law. Sir, what is the best assessment method for students who are in distance learning without using without using computer technology? All right. So again, when I discuss this, it's very hard for to design on distance learning, right? Kasi it really requires internet connection. But for offline students, make sure that they can create a portfolio wherein it demonstrates the progress of their knowledge from the beginning up to the entire quarter or term. Yun. It's not online, but it can be physically, it can be what's this, hard copy online portfolio. Hard copy portfolio. So pwede po siya. Tama po ba? Assessment method for who are in distance using computer technology. Kailangan din po performance-based din siya. Kasi it's very hard to give an objective type of assessment to our students. So pwede po yon. Like, di ba yung mga dating ginagawa po natin na we will go back to conventional way of doing the projects kasi offline nga po siya. So yun. But make sure that they are hitting the objective. They are demonstrating their knowledge doon po sa pinapagawa nyo. Hindi po tayo kasi before, di ba, may mga project po tayo na ano lang, na nagagawa lang ng diorama. But where is the objective? Are we hitting the objective? Are we hitting the skills that we want our students to learn? So, yun po. Okay, there's a question from Sir Lim regarding the portfolio po that you have mentioned. Will past assessments that are objective type count po since it reveals the progress of the learning? Okay, for this one, it can be, yes, a portfolio, pero make sure that you design it well. Di ba nga po kailangan the structure, well-designed structure. So, make sure may mga activity sa portfolio, hindi lang po siya yung lagay ng picture, lagay ng ano. So, kailangan, andun din po si objective. In your online portfolio, it can, di ba, in online, pwede tayong maglagay ng maglagay ng videos. Then sa video na yon merong rubric. May magro-rubric po tayo dito. Kailangan nating maglagay po ng rubric. Magro-rubric po tayo sa portfolio natin para mag-gradean po natin ang estudyante. So yun, it's still performance based. We need to be updated for our development. From Ma'am Marites Maravilla, we really need to be updated for our development and for our learners. Thank you, sir, for sharing. Oh, you're welcome, ma'am. Sir Lim, I hope I answered your question, Sir Lim Jerome. Kaya po doon sa portfolio and performance-based, we really need to create a rubric wherein how will we rate our students? Kasi makikita natin kung na-hit talaga si objective. So, may question pa po? So, teachers, tomorrow po, ang start po ng session natin ay 9:30 to 9:30 to 11 o'clock. Okay, 9:30 to 11 o'clock. So, for our next session tomorrow, ito po, creating instructional video as response to the needs of online distance learning. So, for this one, magkakaroon po tayo. Okay. What is your best, sorry, my question from a Mercy Grace Law. What is your best advice for offline learners? Okay. For offline learners, ma'am. For offline learners, what is your best advice for offline? Okay. For offline learners po, we really need to go back to conventional way. Okay? We need to have pockets. That's why sa amin kasi in our school, medyo toxic lang siya because we need to design two methods of teaching. There is online and there is offline because they're foreseeing it. For example, in August or September, some people might decide to go to school na then the others will not go to school. So That's why you need to design an online and a classroom-based instruction. So ayun po, medyo mahirap siya gawin. But I think let's go back to conventional way if you have this offline. Lalo na kapag walang means of technology, you need to have pockets of worksheets for the students. Kaya 'di ba si DepEd ang ginagawa niya ngayon, um, may mga printed materials na siya. So, ganun po ang gagawin natin for offline learners. But make sure that they have the same objective. Hindi po pwedeng mas okay si online or mas madaming objectives si online. Make sure if you're going to design the structure with offline student or offline learners, kailangan parehas sila ng objective para hindi po unfair sa kanila. So, ayun po. Okay. You're welcome po, ma'am. Ma'am Mercy Grace Law, I hope I answered your question. And for our tomorrow session po, again, that's creating instructional video as response to the needs of online distance learning. So overview lang po, we will learn how to create an instructional or explainer video for our content. Okay, may mga ano tayo, different ways of creating it. So basically, this is demo lecture for tomorrow. Kasi today medyo content-based tayo eh. Kaya medyo, 'di ba? Medyo ako lang nagsasalita. Naantok na kayo. Hindi, joke lang. So we will start our session tomorrow, June 9 at 9:30 a.m., 11 a.m. Again, here also in YouTube, live by CHRDF Inc. So, sir, how do we acquire the certificate? Okay. I think the CHRDF will send you a certificate if you answer the form. It's there. The link it's in the comment section. You need to answer the Google Forms. You need to register for the link for your electronic certificate. Okay, you mentioned I have a question here from Lee Dane. You mentioned about avoiding objective type assessments. Aside from portfolios and performance tasks, what are other options for summative assessments? Okay, so for summative assessment, they can create a presentation. It's a PowerPoint presentation. Basically, that's it. That can be, or it depends on what you want your student to create. It can be a video presentation aside from portfolio. Video presentation, if you want them to create a vlog, pwede rin siya. Or like they will discuss it, sila ang magdi-discuss. As long as they demonstrate the learning, the skills. So pwede po. Don't limit it to portfolio. Medyo madami. I know you are very creative. The teachers are very creative in doing it. Bukod sa mga suggestion ko, alam ko marami pa kayong mga naiisip na pwedeng gawin para ma-demonstrate ni estudyante ang learning. Demonstrate the learning of the students. Make sure lang teachers na sana yung objective type is for formative assessment. it's okay to give formative assessment. I mean, objective type sa formative assessment. May question po from Sir Erin Abraham. Yung session po ba bukas may kinakailangan pong app na gagamitin or program? Salamat po. Actually, yes. May mga programs na may mga application po tayong gagamitin tomorrow. Anyway, I will just demonstrate it na lang. Tapos, kung gusto niyo siyang gamitin, okay lang din. Again, this is for Mac user because I designed tomorrow session for Mac user if you're using Mac computer, if you're using Windows computer, and also for mobile phones, iPhone and Android, para at least kung anong available sa inyo, pwede nating gamitin. So, yun po. I think that's it. So, if you have questions, just email or message CHRDF Inc. If you have further questions about it. Or if you have questions, may question po kayo sa akin, don't hesitate to contact me at jolan.torres@dialazabal.edu.ph, or I also have my Instagram account at Sir Jojo. So, ayan po. Ayun lang po. Thank you po. Salamat po, teachers. See you tomorrow. See you tomorrow. Salamat po. See you tomorrow, teachers. Maraming salamat.